Hello there, my name is John O'Hara and I'm the official festival ambassador for the Festival of Voices 2022, happening July 1 to 10 all over Tasmania. Now, as the festival ambassador, it is my job, of course, to spread the word about the jam-packed program we have lined up for you, but also to spread the joy that I think singing and making music brings. And so over the last couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to speak to some of our artists joining us at the festival. Everyone from solo acts to composers to choir conductors, about what singing and music and art and community means to them. I hope you enjoy these chats. I will see you at the festival. I'll be the one in the sparkly jacket. See you in a few weeks. Kathleen McGuire, thank you so much for joining me on the Festival of Voices Zoomterviews.
It's an absolute pleasure. And I forgot to ask you, do you prefer John or Jono?
Look, Jono.
Jono? Okay. Just checking. Just checking.
Do you prefer Kathleen? Is that kind of what you prefer?
Well, it's interesting because when I was younger, it was always Kathy. And then when I went overseas, everyone called me Kathleen because, usually my resume preceded me. And it just sort of, I got used to it. But now, and then I come back and everyone's calling me Kathy again. And it's weird. It used to be only my mother in a bad mood called me Kathleen. So I don't really mind too much, but yeah, most people these days call me Kathleen.
Okay. Well, for those people that don't know you, that are coming along to the stuff that you're doing at the festival, why don't you tell us real quick who is Kathleen McGuire, and what do you do?
Oh, well, I'm from Melbourne. People might be able to tell from my accent. But I have lived overseas for a long time as well. I trained first as a instrumentalist and vocalist, and then as a composer. But then conducting drew me in, and I was started off doing a lot of musicals. Then I went overseas and studied conducting seriously, did my master's degree in England and my doctorate in the US, which led me to the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, which I led for more than 10 years in San Francisco, 200 gay men. Before that, actually back in Melbourne, my brother started the Melbourne Gay and Lesbian Chorus. So I was involved in them with them peripherally, and I have conducted them over the years as well. But in San Francisco, they are the oldest gay men's chorus in the world. So I became involved in the global scene really, and conducted at a lot of gay games in Sydney and Chicago, and one more I'm forgetting. I'll come back to it. But also the festivals, the queer choral festivals over in the US. Overseas as well. Sorry, COVID brain. So in Dublin. Sorry, how could I forget? The third one was Paris.
Got it.
Yeah. So I've come back now to Australia, where I'm really eager to do more choral conducting. I'm the conductor of the Tudor Choristers here in Melbourne, and I'm still composing, and I'm a lecturer at the Australian Catholic University. So I guess I have irons in lots of fires, as they say, but I'm really, really excited about coming to Hobart and being part of this festival, which I've been wanting to do for a very long time.
Well, that's a great segue. Tell us about what you're doing at the Festival of Voices specifically.
I'm the conductor of the workshops for the queer choir. So we're going to have several workshops preparing for a performance, and we've chosen some music that's going to be really super appealing, that really speaks to the type of people we hope will participate in this. It's not limited to queer people. It's basically anyone who's queer or queer supportive. So anyone who wants to be part of it, because it's so important for everybody to feel included. And so we've got some inclusive music that will hopefully make everybody, feel really good singing it, but also send a message to the people watching us as well.
Yeah. Hey, so as someone like yourself who's spent, their life, their adult life, and some of their teenage years, and probably as a child as well, in and around music, what does it mean to you? What does music mean to you as a human?
Well, it's something that has changed throughout my life, but it's always been in me and part of who I was. Um, Now, my mum said I was harmonising when we were driving. We didn't have a radio, so she sang hymn tunes, and I harmonised when I was 4, apparently. Um, but I believe everybody has music in them, and to me, that's what it is. And something I really discovered about myself in San Francisco was that music was the means by which I express what's important to me in life, whether that's helping other people feel good about themselves, helping change the world even. So for me, it's a form of self-expression, and it speaks to people in a way that nothing else does. It is a language, and I've seen people who are listening to something in another language say, "I don't know what that meant, but I know how it made me feel." And to me, that's what this is really about. And people get that with instrumental music, of course, too. So it's many layers, but I see it as a property of healing. I see it as something that everybody can do. So people say to me, "I can't sing." It's like, well, you're talking to me right now. Of course you can sing. And what they're trying to say is, well, I don't think I sing well. And that's usually because somebody, when they were about 6 years old, said, "Oh, don't sing, I don't like you singing," and it gets into your head. Singing's very personal. It comes from inside your body. Your instrument is inside you. So part of what I want to do is encourage people to share their voice, literally and figuratively. So that's what I'm hoping we can do with this
You spoke
workshop.
very briefly about your mum saying that she remembers you harmonizing to hymn tunes in the car and stuff. Do you have a memory of your first singing moment as a young person?
Oh, it was definitely be tied to church because we went to church, and it's another interesting journey for another day. But definitely singing at church. In fact, they didn't. I remember at Sunday school. I just loved the hymns. So whether it was my church or my grandparents or just hymns at home, that's probably one of my earliest memories. Certainly, I remember stuff I sang at kindergarten. I remember, the Five Little Ducks, and yeah, so I have some very early memories, and I remember the first record I bought was, and I've still got it. It's a little single for the people who are, it's like this little piece of vinyl that spins around with a needle on it, of the Teddy Bears Picnic.
Ah, there you go.
And I actually did an arrangement of that with the Gay Men's Chorus.
Ah. That brings a whole other teddy bear, doesn't it? The Gay Men's Chorus.
I know. So yeah, it's funny how those things from your childhood actually stick with you. And I know some people, for instance, I mean, my dad taught me how to play the recorder when I was about 5 or 6 out of a book because, he's not a trained musician, but he's an engineer and he could figure out the book. And basically she said, well, here's the book and this is what you do and off you go. And, and I'm one of those people who actually loves the recorder. So
I love that.
which, yeah. So, it doesn't really matter where it starts or when. I know people who start singing later in life and get a huge amount out of it. And it's so healing to do it, especially when you sing with other people. There are actually scientific studies now on brains. Do you know how long those endorphins stay in your body after you've sung with someone?
How long?
Have a guess.
4 days.
That's exactly right. So you must know about the study. Or you know the feeling.
I know the feeling.
You know the feeling of it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. And I
was actually surprised. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, I think I know the feeling when it disappears, like as well, because people have those kind of post-show blues, and I think maybe that's about the endorphins leaving your body as well.
Absolutely. And I think there's probably another layer to it when it's performing as well as rehearsing. And I think that's something that where our souls are missing after COVID.
Yeah.
Even when you've still done the online engagement thing, there's something missing from actually being in a room with people, making and hearing all that sound come together. And so I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it. Because, especially when it's something that you're used to doing, it's part of who you are and your healing, and your body needs it
Yeah.
as well as your just the social aspect. So yeah, I just really hope a lot of people will come and experience this.
Who are some of your vocal heroes?
The first person who always comes to mind is Barbara Streisand. So
That's so
yeah,
gay.
I know, but I mean, I just remember when I was, I used to watch, I mean, I was always a fan. My parents actually owned about 5 records when I was growing up, and one of them was Barbara's, it was actually called The Third Album, because I guess it was her third album. She labeled things, Adele's pretty cool the way
Adele
she
doesn't,
labels
yeah.
things. Yeah. And I love Adele. But Barbara Streisand is I watched her movies, I listened to her sing, but it was the TV special that really got to me about Barbara Streisand, because when there was one where they would just zoom in on her face. This is from the 60s, and they would actually just show her face singing, and she would sell a whole song without moving any part of her body except for what you could see here. And that to me was so important to see. And you can see her vowel modifications on different pitches, and her technique is just incredible. And of course, I love hearing a lot of her stuff. Her Broadway album I had on loop in my car for a year. I just love the Broadway album. So, but there are lots of other musicians I love too, but she just really is a standout.
Hey Kathleen, have you been to the Festival of Voices before? And if not, why are you so excited to come to Tassie and to this festival?
Well, I haven't been before. In fact, this is the third time I've been scheduled to come, but unfortunately, the pandemic got in the way.
Uh-huh.
I've, of course, been hearing about it for years. My friend Charlie Beale came and conducted an LGBT group, I think they put together. I think it was around 2013. Charlie's a good friend of mine, so I heard all about that. And I came to Tasmania, I think my first trip was in 1985, when I was at uni, and I hiked along the South Coast Track, which anyone from Tasmania will know is treacherous. And that was my first trip. I did another trip with a group of teacher colleagues in '87, but I haven't been since the '80s. So I'm really excited. My wife is coming as well, and our kids. When I say kids, they're older, but they all want to come too because they're from Ireland,
Uh-huh.
and I keep saying to them, Tasmania in the winter, you're going to feel homesick for Ireland because it's so similar. So I'm really excited on lots of different levels. I'm excited to see how much Tasmania has changed in that time, because I know it's just become this wonderful cultural hub. I love cooking, and I see Tasmania featured on so many cooking shows. It's like I want to go there and eat the food.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course, I actually love sailing too. So the hope about watching the yacht races on TV, it's like, oh, I need to get back to Tasmania. So from that point of view, but also just the fantastic spaces they perform in, the wonderful choirs that are going to be performing there, all the people I've met in preparation for this, I'm excited to meet as well. And of course, meeting all the wonderful singers who are going to be part of this event.
Now, your event takes place over 3 days. The festival schedule is jam packed full of all sorts of things. So
Yes.
if people are coming or they're thinking about coming and they're looking, in the program, this is your chance to sell it. Why should they apply and come along to the Queer Choir workshop, and what will they get out of it?
Okay, I really want people to come and be part of this workshop because it's something that everyone can sing. It's not going to be difficult music. It is designed so that everyone can sing it. It's going to be familiar. One of the songs is This Is Me, which people will know. There's a beautiful round that we're going to do called Love is Love is Love is Love, that was written for the shooting in Orlando in, I think it was 2016.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece. And also I'm doing an arrangement of the fantastic Shouse song called Love Tonight. I happen to know the guys who wrote it, and they've given us permission to do this premiere. So it's going to be very exciting to do this music that's Australian, that's queer, that touches on musical theatre as well, of course, but mainly because we're creating a really fantastic space. People can, there will be queer people there who are possibly for the first time singing in an environment with other queer people, and that is so important to do that. And if you've never experienced that, if you've never experienced being alone, you wouldn't. Anyone who's experienced being alone would understand how important it is to find your community.
Yes.
And so we're in a small way, in a small amount of time, we want to create community. So please come and be part of that, whether you're a queer person or maybe you just want to support queer people, or maybe you just want to come and hang out with me. Yeah.
Amazing.
We've been alone too long in COVID. I'm sick of the isolation. Let's come and hang out.
Agreed. The Queer Choir Workshop takes place on between the 6th and the 8th of July at the Salamanca Arts Centre, and then they will be performing. The first time ever, this Queer Choir Workshop will be performing as a collective at the concert hall on the 8th as a part of a big headline concert. All of the details can be found at festivalofvoices.com. Kathy, I'm so excited to see you down in Tassie. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Jono.